All right, hello and welcome in to another podcast today. We got a great guy coming to us today from Ohio that we really are super excited about learning his story and wanting to know everything that it comes into being Kane. And Kane, how are you today, sir?
Good. Thank you for having me.
You are quite welcome. Now, tell us right off the bat, what in the world is it like living in Ohio?
It's awesome. Everybody should do it, I think.
Oh, really? So what? I know it's some cold weather up there, and we're from down in the south, so we don't deal with as much of that. But tell me about the cold weather. How's it getting around in that cold weather?
Well, this was actually my first real cold, a lot of snow this year. It's fun. I live on a farm and everything, so getting on a four-wheeler riding around in it, it's fun. Got my track chair, getting out in the snow. Everybody wants to take a ride on campus. I like it. I like it a lot. I like the cold weather.
That's something new. I guess there is different ways out there. I was talking to a guy just the other day from New Hampshire, and that's what he was telling me is he's grown up in it, so he didn't really know any different than being in the South. So, all right. So tell us now. Everybody out there is wanting to know who Kane is and what Kane does and how Kane came to us. So tell us uh, about Kane. Tell us what you got going on.
Well, I'm a T6 paraplegic. I'm also a junior in college, president of a Greek fraternity on campus, and a sixth generation farmer, and also an avid, hunter. So outdoorsman, still in college, but my sophomore year, I became paralyzed in a tree stand injury, and been paralyzed ever since, but still rocking.
All right. So now that you've kind of told us what you have an injury and what's going on. Tell us, is there what? And I know there's a lot of people out there that always want to know these fun facts. Tell us what led to that. Was there a reason that accident happened?
Yeah, I actually have epilepsy, and I was diagnosed with epilepsy after I graduated high school. So it was in July 2018 when I had my first seizure, and in November of 2019 is when I fell from a tree stand because of a seizure. So that's kind of what led me to being in a life in a chair. So
All right. Now, for those out there listening that don't know a lot about the epilepsy and having seizures and stuff like that, I know you just kind of told us a little bit about it, coming on all of a sudden as you got older and younger, but not really having any episodes of it. What do you know what causes epilepsy?
there's so many different things that cause epilepsy, but for me, they have no idea. Um, when I have a seizure, I black out, 30 minutes beforehand and 2 to 3 hours after. And I really can't tell you a lot about my experience, unless I've just heard it from someone else, just because I just can't remember. But as of for me, they have no idea what causes them.
Okay, so now let's dig into that just a little bit deeper, if you don't mind. In those people out there that have never experienced one before, and if I experienced a epileptic moment, like you're saying that maybe I black out before or even black out after one of these seizures happen. Is there something I need to be worried about? Is there things that you can walk us through to kind of help us through that moment in time?
Well, it's hard to be prepared and to know, what's going to happen or when's it going to happen and stuff like that. If I was somebody who was, just started dealing with this, I always wore a bracelet that said I was had epilepsy, and so if somebody found me and I was just seizing out, then they could, oh, okay, this is the number to call, you know, yada yada yada. I always tell, my roommates at college, flip me on my side and just make sure move everything out of my way so I'm not, injuring myself even more, by hitting myself. Um, and just to let people know where around, because it's something that you can't see coming. Like no one can see that disability part of me.
Okay, well that's good information to have. So the best recommendation you're saying then is have a bracelet or some type of marker on so people know that that may happen one time in a million, but the one time it happens, you want people to know what's going on.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now you told us a little bit earlier about giving people rides on your chair at school. Tell me about school. Where are you? What are you doing? What are you majoring in?
I'm double majoring at Wilmington College in Ohio, ag business and accounting major. Let's see. I started here my freshman year of it was the fall of 2018, and it's not a very handicap accessible place, but I mean I was walking when I first joined here. I was on the lacrosse team uh, before I got injured, and I just done pretty much everything before I was injured and after. So it's a really small campus, but it's a great place to be.
Now, going down that road, you said that it was not accessible. It is, and I understand there's a lot of places that are not, and it's not because they're not wanting to be, just because maybe they've never had anybody on campus or anything like that with your type of injury. What type of things, if you could tell people out there listening, what type of things are you running into at college that could help somebody down the road dealing with the same type of injury you are? Are there sidewalk issues? Are there curb issues? Are there going in the store issues? What type of things are you running into at college?
Yeah, I run into a lot of like just the curb issues. Having to go all the way down at the end of the street to turn around just to get to the other side, unless I'd have to go up a big curb just because there's not a lot of ramps to go up it. I also find in some of the buildings that they don't have the automatic door, so you have to swing it open yourself, which in a wheelchair can be hard at sometimes, especially if they're a heavy door. uh, I would always, if you're looking out and trying to pick a college that's handicap accessible, um, I would always, just ask, you know, try to find someone who's on campus that it is. But, in my case, I didn't. So I just kind of went around, drove around the campus and, just kind of pinpointed because, you're in a chair and that wheelchair people have to go the extra distance. They can't cut corners like people can in life in general. So like, we have to go all the way around on the sidewalk, but people can cut through the grass and stuff. So just, I'm glad that my campus is small and I can just get around pretty easily. But if in that situation, you're looking for a campus, definitely, ask around and see if there's any other handicapped people on the campus to ask.
Now, in following that same road of thought, there in college, is the college itself? I know we're talking about the accessibility, but is the college itself supportive of you being on campus?
Yes, very supportive. Um, they had people, raising money for me when I actually got injured. They had prayer circles. They gave me my own apartment, let me pick who I needed to live with, just, getting me set up. And I had a couple classes that's actually in a building that has just stairs, no elevator, and they moved that around no problem. Pretty much anything I need, physically or anything like that, they help me out. So
So you're saying that this college has been supportive in such a way that they helped you raise money for a chair? Tell me about that.
yeah, they actually raised over 13,000. It was student led, but it was through the college. 13,000 for a standing chair where I can get up and move around, and because it is hard, going just with your arms at first and getting them going. So having an electric chair on campus helps out a lot. Trying to carry all my books and everything like that. So yeah, they help me, have a standing chair where I can still stand up, take pictures, stuff like that. And it's really been a blessing. I'm really glad I chose Wilmington College.
Now that's pretty neat. I would applaud myself. Never have been there. I would applaud Wilmington College for doing that because that's going above and beyond for your students and for your faculty there to be able to raise money to get you a chair. That's a pretty good college in itself. Now talking into that college frame of mind, and we were also talking earlier, or even you brought it up earlier. You were on the college lacrosse team, so obviously when you had an injury and things changed and you're no longer on the lacrosse team. I know that sporting aspect is still in your blood and you still love to play sports. What is there anything else you've picked up as you've gone along and maybe started a new sport?
Yeah, a big thing is on campus. Me and a few buddies started up a trap team. The
Okay.
trap is a shooting sport where you stand 16 yards from the throwing house and it throws it out 5 different directions, and you're standing in 5 different places. You score out of 25 out of a box of shells, and it's definitely something I picked up, just after my accident. We started up the semester after my accident, and it's been a blessing just because, like you said, I played all the sports. I was in intramurals and everything, but this is a sport that I can compete with people who are able bodies, but I can still compete and outshoot them. You know what I mean? So,
Well, so it kind of makes the playing field a little level then.
oh yes, it does.
Now, so getting into that just a little bit deeper, tell us. I know you explained what skeet shooting is and trap shooting is, but tell us, from being in your level of injury, of sitting down, and then also having a wheelchair that might help you stand up. What are some of the tough things about that? I mean, is it hard to hold the gun up?
I wouldn't say it's hard to hold the gun up. It's hard to hold and not lean forward. See, where I'm a T6, I don't have any abs. And so I have to scoot my butt out a little bit. So I'm kind of leaning back a little bit in my chair, and I recline it back just a little bit in my track chair. And that's how I kind of help myself hold the gun a little bit better.
Okay. So we're on campus. We've got us some sports going on. Are you fully living by yourself now?
Yeah, I've been living by myself since 2 months after my injury.
Since 2 months after the injury. Okay, so remind us again the time frame from injury to the time you went back to college. How long did that take?
Well, I got injured November 16th, and I was back at college January 10th.
So basically, about 2 months there window that you went back to school.
Yeah.
Now that's pretty speedy in itself. Is there anything that you look back on now for people listening that may be going through the same similar situation or have a family friend, somebody that's dealing with it? Was speed on your side? Did I mean the sooner you got back, did that make you get more calm down and more back into things, or should you have pumped the brakes and maybe took another week or two and kind of figured some things out before you went back?
No, if I could have came back a month earlier, I would have. It has been the biggest blessing. Um, it pushes you, you know what I mean? Like when I was at home, my mom and dad, and my whole family really was, oh, he's crippled now. He can't do this. He can't do that. Well, when you're on your own, you got to do it. You know what I mean? It's not of can you do it? It's you got to do it. So it motivates you to get you, out of bed and get you in your chair, get you, cooking your own food, cleaning your own clothes, just doing the daily stuff over and over again instead of having someone try to do it for you. So if you can get out and move away and just get it on your own, I definitely would.
Well, now that's the part I can definitely agree with you on, and I think that it's a great thing that you pushed yourself to get out because the sooner the person, whoever it is, boy, girl, doesn't make a difference. The sooner you get out and start doing things on your own, the better that you're going to find out, that you can do stuff instead of allowing other people to do things for you. Now, speaking of that and going along that road, you brought up parents and you brought up other people, talking about, hey, he's got this injury and, things are going to be a lot different for him. Were there people in your life before the injury that kind of maybe set you on the right path? Like, so when you had an injury, you could look back at them and go, gosh, I'm so glad that person was in my life?
Yeah. One of them that definitely comes to mind is my girlfriend. Uh, I met her my freshman year or summer going into my sophomore year, technically. So the end of freshman year. So we were together around, I don't know, 6 months before my injury. And she was with me every step of the way. We're still together. And we actually just got the news that we're going to have apartments next door to each other next year on campus. So we'll be closer than what we are now. But when I came back, she was the person who motivated me, helped me got out of bed when I was on campus, stuff like that. She was there pushing me, everything I do, she helps me with, just motivating me and, telling me that, like, look, I know it sucks, but this is, this is something you got to live with the rest of your life. So let's do it together, type of thing. So it's really nice.
That's very cool to have that person in your life. When she helps you and you say, hey, you got to deal with this and this is going to be something you got going forward. Are there ways for other people that are out there listening? Are there things within the relationship that you would recommend? If I'm a girl listening and I'm dating a guy that's or wanting to date a guy that's got a wheelchair, are there things you would recommend that girl, knowing or asking questions before you get in that relationship?
Yeah, I would definitely just be open with yourself, because being paralyzed is no pretty thing at the end of the day. Accidents are going to happen. What if sometimes you just fall out of your chair and you need help up? And Tiffany was a big thing, is I would get nervous. I was the one who would get nervous when we were out in public, and I would be like, you're with the crippled kid, and I feel like this is just a charity case. And she was just like, you're literally the only one who thinks that. So if you're the crippled person and you want a relationship, just don't look at yourself like that. Just look at yourself like, you're just a regular person, because if it's the right one, they're going to look at you like just like nothing. They're going to look over the chair. So
I love that. I like the part that she helped you kind of focus on what's really there, and it's not a chair that's pushing you around. You're still the same person.
exactly, yeah.
Okay. Now, is there anybody else from knowing and listening to you about your story? Is there anybody else in your life that's really helped you, as I say, made a bridge between before injury and after injury?
Oh, my mom and dad for sure. Like I said earlier, we're a farming family. We just do crops, but my dad has helped me tremendously in getting the equipment and getting everything where I can be back to planting, spraying, everything, running the farm. My mom just around the house, and just me in general is, getting my chair in and out of the truck. She would sit there and just watch me do it, just because she's like, I don't want you to be alone. So she just would come out there, and because when I was practicing, when I first started driving, I was like, I got to get this down, because I don't want to be like 20 minutes getting my chair in. And all of them, both my parents have just supported me more than I could have ever asked. They took a vow when I got injured. They were like, we don't care how much it takes. We're going to give him the most normal life as possible. And they have. We've been to, we actually, a month after my injury, we were on a cruise to the Bahamas, because it was my sister's 21st that we already had scheduled, and they asked me if they wanted to cancel it, or if I wanted to cancel it. I told them no, and so they got everything set up just right then. They didn't back down. And I mean, we're, with COVID, it kind of slows down, but we're going out to Vegas in the summer and going to have fun out there. So it's not slowing us down, and they've helped me tremendously.
Wow. So that really sounds like some people that you don't want to let down then because of how much they've poured into you. I can really tell listening to you talking about them how much they mean to you. Now, again, for those, so we can touch on these subjects just a little bit better, for those people that are out there listening, I know a mom wants to help their child any which way they can. Are there things that, I think I've heard you say it before, that mom was willing to do whatever you needed her to do? She would probably buy you whatever you needed to buy. If there was some kind of, she thought you needed a walker, she'd probably go buy 10 walkers because you needed it, or she thought you needed it. Going down that same road, and you said you're a farmer and dad's out there watching you and he's trying to help you any which way you can. Tell us, for some of the people out there listening, they necessarily ain't got to be a farmer. They could be, play in the band. They could play sports. They could do whatever it is. give their parents that are listening some ways out there to help them. I'm sure that Dad, your father, has helped you in certain ways out there on the farm to get back to normal life. So give us some ideas of parents that are out there listening, what they could do to help out.
I think the big thing with parents is they want to know what's best for you. And of course, they're not in the chair. So, a big thing that my dad did before he finalized anything on the farm or my mom finalizes anything, they sat, we sat together and they asked, is this the best way we can go about this? Or is this going to help you? So, we had this chair that was on the forklift to get me up in the tractor. And the chair was literally like tilting out, and I was just sliding out of it. And he was ready to go, and I was like, well, we need to switch this chair to something different because it's just not going to work. Get up so high and just slide off, it wouldn't be good. So we sat around and we found this old fishing boat chair and threw it in there, and it was perfect, and it's still on there to this day. So parents, if your son or daughter is dealing with an injury, just ask them, see what they can do, and don't just think that you know everything about the injury.
Okay, so now going along that same lines, if mom and dad, are out there trying to help you out and doing the things, is there anything? I know you just said ask them about the injury. Would that be more along the lines of you want them to ask you, what helps you and what gets in your way more so? They're kind of, I guess, just trying to figure out the best way to do things for you. So you're saying your piece of advice would be to ask first instead of going out there and building a boat seat. Ask and let's see what works first.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Well, then that would be good advice for people going forward. Now, tell us, is there anybody else? I think I'd heard a story one time that somebody else that lives on the farm there with you guys that you may have learned some things from about your injury. Can you tell us a little bit about that person?
Yeah, so we had a guy who was paralyzed before before my injury. He was paralyzed like 6 years before, and he has been such a motivator for me. I look at him like I look at anyone else, and that was the biggest thing. So he worked on our farm. He was a good buddy of mine. He was in a motocross accident, and I was just down in the dumps at first, like everybody should be when you get hurt like that. But I just kept thinking of him, and I never looked at him different. I didn't see stuff that he couldn't do. I saw all the stuff he can do, and that was like my motivation. Another motivation for me was, if he can do it, I can definitely do it. And he helps me out, tells me tricks and tips, and it was just, man, it's just been a blessing.
Now, has there been, out of that great blessing, as you say, to have somebody like that in your life, has there been a piece of advice that he's given you, a thing you've taken away from? He had already been in a chair, so was there something he gave you going forward?
It gets easier. That was his first, when he first met me in the hospital after I was in therapy. I was tired, and he goes, "It gets easier." I was wore out just putting my overalls on, and I was breathing hard and everything else. And he goes, it'll be fine, and it gets easier." And he's 100% true. I mean, I can get dressed as fast as anyone else can now. Stuff like that. I can get it into my truck and stuff. I can get in quick and easy. And so if anyone's out here listening, it does get easier. Like, it sucks right now, but it does get easier.
Well, and that's a great piece of advice to have too for people that are listening. There are, with any disability that's going on, the more days you get to spend with it, the more time you learn the little ins and outs. It does make life a little easier going forward. Now, tell us along those same lines about making life easier and going forward. I know you're a farmer, and I know I've also heard this story about Agrability. Tell us about those people and what they've done for you in the farming world.
Man, Aggrability is an awesome thing. So in Ohio, one of the reps actually is in Wilmington, where my college is at, and she came down a couple weeks after my injury and was, just kind of telling me, like, so what did you, she just asked me questions like, so what did you do on the farm? And I was telling her, I ran all the equipment, helped manage the farm, pretty much done everything on a farm that anyone could do. And she was like, all right, we're going to get you back to that. It wasn't like, oh, well, you're never going to be able to do this again. She was just like, tell me, like, what do you think you need? They were able to get me this lift that's on the back of my truck so I can just drive out to the field, get into any tractor I need to, get into the combine, sprayer. Um, they also got me my track chair so I can actually get around on the farm because, I don't know who all has been on a farm, but it's definitely not handicap accessible by any means. So they were able to give me the track chair so I can just get around and, service the equipment, get back to just working on things like I used to. They also got me our main sliding doors. It's on a button now, so they kind of open up. And the program's all about just getting farmers back to the way they were. And they don't understand, like, if they can help people get a job, like, Ohio with disability can get people jobs, then why can't, if I already have the job, then why can't they just help me a little bit? And that's exactly what they did. They helped me so I can still farm and be independent. So
Well, and that's what I think I heard you tell us earlier, that you're a fifth generation farmer, so you have had this in your blood, and it's just like anybody doing any other activity. If you've got something really in your blood that strong of, sports or games or, playing anything at the house, if something's in you that strong, there's got to be a way out there for everybody to figure out how to get back to life after an injury. So don't let it stop it. Let it start you. Just start you in a different direction and get you a different way of doing things. Now, I want to applaud again, just like we did the college, the Aggrability. It sounds like those people are really on top of things and really, really a great organization to be involved in to get people back in the outdoors doing what they used to do. So tell us again, and I'll make sure I'm saying that right. Aggrability, is that right?
yeah, Agrability. It's and every state should have their own like different reps and everything. So
Okay.
if
So if you're somebody out there listening and you're looking for an avenue like that of some help out there, I know in some places there's like vocational rehabs and specialty type places like this, but it sounds like this is one of those. This Aggra Ability, if I'm saying it right, is a place for you to check into and be able to find some of those things that you need, or if you're definitely an outdoor person, helping you get back into the outdoors. And like I said, I just think it's wonderful of what they did for you. Now, to kind of pull this thing all together, and now that we've heard some of your story and how you got injured and all that kind of stuff, tell us what does the future look like for Kane going forward? What do you want to be? What are you going to school for? Are you going to be a farmer the rest of your life? Are you going to go play music? Or just tell us, what are you thinking?
I'm definitely not going to be the music type. But so, like I said, I'm majoring in ag business and accounting. So right out of college, I'm hoping to get an accounting job just around my area. Something to pay the bills because our farm's not big enough to support three families. So until my grandpa passes away, and then I'll be able to take over in partnership with my dad on the farm. But I'll definitely be farming the rest of my life, and hopefully build my own house on the farm. Um, and maybe one day just be independent and be able to raise a family on that farm and keep the generations going.
Wow. Well, it sounds like that farming and the outdoors is definitely into your blood, so deep that you want to do it till your last days called. So we're going to wrap this thing up, and I want you to hear our signature question as we ask everybody that comes on our show. And we really want to know, if your number was called tomorrow and everything was over and we read the book of the life of Cain, what would you hope that people read in that book? What would you hope that you've left behind for the rest of the world to learn?
That's never give up. Um, that even if you think your life's over, it's just begun. If you're still alive, then you can change the world.
That's pretty good advice there. Now, it's definitely, if you're still upright and moving, there's something that you can be doing for yourself. So, I first of all, I want to thank you for coming on today and spending your time. I know you probably need to be out there farming, and you took time to come out and help us. So, thank you for giving us an interview.
Thank you for asking me to be here.
Is there a way that if you want to be contacted, is there a way for people to contact you? Do you have social medias, emails? We from time to time get listeners out there that are in your situation or have a family member in your situation, and they want to bounce a question off of you and say, hey, gosh, my child works, in the farming, and we want to know how to do that. Is there a way for us to contact you?
Kane_Lewis.
Okay.
Pretty easy to look up.
So we Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook, everything.
Okay,
Facebook.
Instagram.
Yep.
All right. So it's just, if we look you up on Facebook or Instagram, it's just Kane Lewis, right?
That's right.
And from Ohio. So that anybody's out there looking and wants to bounce a question off of him, that's the way you find him. Man, it was just such a great story listening to you and understanding all the details that have gone into your life and the things that it's amazing that you overcome what you did so fast and got back into life, and how you taught us that, it was a help for you to get back in there into the game, as they call it, because it helped you recover quicker and got you moving along with your life. And it's a great thing that you had somebody already in your life that gave you that piece of advice that just said, hang in there, because it's going to get easier the further you go. So, I mean, I'm just super excited to be able to have heard the story. I know that there are a lot of people going to be touched by this story as they get a chance to listen to it through our podcast and through our YouTube channel. So everybody out there that are listening, check us out. YouTube, that's Rolling With My Special Friends. We also have rollingwithmyspecialfriends.com. We also have t-shirts and hats available on there if somebody would like something like that. But just give us a like on our Facebook page. Go check the website out. Go to the YouTube channel, Rolling With My Special Friends. Give us a subscribe and like. And hopefully we'll be bringing more stories to you here soon, like this wonderful guy that we just got to talk to in Mr. Kane. So, Mr. Kane, thank you very much for your time today, sir.
All right. Thank you.